Okay, good morning or good afternoon or good evening whenever you were watching this video. I said in the homework that I would make a video about chart 12.5, and so that's what this is. In fact, I should write chart 12.5 up there. Chart 12.5 talks about imaginary progressive sentences. There are two progressive tenses that we use to talk about imagination. And so far as I can tell, as far as I can think, there are only two. The first one I talked about in an earlier video last week, which was imaginary present progressive. So let me review that with you briefly. The truth is, what I am doing right now is I am making a video for you, right? But let's imagine something. Maybe I imagine I am talking to Barack Obama right now. So I might say, if I blank talk to Barack Obama right now, and I'll say, I don't need to say right now, but I will put it here in parentheses to make it clear that's the time I mean. If I blank talk to Barack Obama right now, I blank tell him I miss him. Okay, so what we learned was, when I'm talking about imaginary present progressive, imaginary right now, in the if clause, I will use were plus verb ing. Oh, I should have asked you to do this. Take a moment and think. Pause the video if you want, but how should I fill this in? Remember, this is imaginary right now. Imaginary right now. If I blank talk to Barack Obama right now, I blank tell him I miss him. Okay. Pause. And then let's talk about the answer. So in the if clause, I'll use were plus verb ing. So I would say, if I were talking to Barack Obama right now, and then in the other clause, in the main clause, I will use, I don't want that, I would use there are two possibilities. I can use would plus simple form, or would be plus verb ing. Okay? So I could say, if I were talking to Barack Obama right now, I would, let's see, I guess I should use a different color. If I were talking to Barack Obama right now, I would tell him I miss him. Or I could use would be plus verb ing. If I were talking to Barack Obama right now, I would be telling him I miss him. Both of these are possible in English. The first one, would plus simple form, is much more common. I said before, very often I can use both. The meaning is very, very close, and I didn't explain what the difference was. I said, in the earlier video, I said, if you want to know, ask me about it and I'll tell you. But you can usually use both. The first one, would plus simple form, is the most common. Okay? So that's what we've already learned. Let's now think about imaginary past progressive. Okay? So, I'll just change it to right here. Imaginary past progressive. So, let me see. The truth yesterday was I was cleaning my house, okay? And while I was cleaning my house, I found a pen under the table. So I might say imaginary past progressive. When I was cleaning my house, or while I was cleaning my house yesterday, I found a pen under a table. So the meaning of past progressive, as you remember, is it's over time. And so I could say, while I was cleaning my house, and it means I'm cleaning over time. I'm cleaning, and then in the middle of cleaning, boom, I found a pen under a table. So past progressive, you've probably studied that before. We did briefly in this class, but if you took other classes, you've studied it a lot. I'm trying to think, should I say more about that? No, I don't think so. So, just like you'd imagine, the truth yesterday, don't imagine, sorry. The truth yesterday was, I was cleaning my house yesterday, and I found a pen under the table. But, let's imagine that that's not what happened yesterday. In my imagination, I went to Paris yesterday. Okay, I visited Paris. So, this is not true. I did not go to Paris yesterday. This is just my imagination. So, if I want to show imaginary, I might say, if I blank visit Paris yesterday, I blank climb the Eiffel Tower. Okay. Now, actually, I think they have elevators in the Eiffel Tower. I don't know. I've never visited Paris. But let's use climb anyway, just for the grammar. Now, let's say I want to say this. Let me draw a picture over here. So this is my imagination. Okay? So I'm making a little cloud here. And here I am. I am imagining that I was visiting Paris yesterday. Not true, just my imagination. That's why I have the little cloud. This is in my mind. Now, I want to say, okay, so I started to visit Paris yesterday. I was visiting, and in the middle of my visit, I climbed the Eiffel Tower. So I'd say I started to visit, and I'm visiting, and then boom, in the middle, I climbed the Eiffel Tower. The way that I would say this is, if I blank visit Paris yesterday, I'd blank, oh, I'm not going to tell you yet. Pause the video and see, do you have a guess how I might say this? I want to say it's my imagination, and I was visiting over time in the past, and boom, in the middle, I climbed the Eiffel Tower. Okay, let me go ahead and tell you what this would be. The way that I show imaginary past progressive, that it's happening over time, in the past, in my imagination. Imaginary past progressive is happening over time, in the past, in my imagination. The way I say that, the signal that I use in English, the way that I tell another English speaker, this was over time, in the past, only my imagination, is I say this: if I had been plus verb, ing. So if I put it in here, in the if clause, I use in the if clause, I use had been plus verb ing. So I would say, if I had been visiting Paris yesterday, and in the other clause, in the main clause, I will use would have plus past participle. Okay? Would have plus past participle. So I could say, if I had been visiting Paris yesterday, oh, I don't know if I have enough room, I would have climbed the Eiffel Tower. And that means, in my mind, imagining this, I visited Paris yesterday, and I was visiting, and then boom, in the middle, I climbed the Eiffel Tower. How is that? Now, there's another possibility here, and I'm trying to think if it's worth teaching. Okay. Let's say I have a different situation. Let me draw. So here, I could imagine this, or I could imagine this. Well, I could imagine, here again is visit, and let's see here. Let's see here. Video. Ah. Oops, sorry. Okay. Let's say I want to imagine two things that are both happening over time. So maybe in my imagination, again, this is imagination, I'm visiting Paris, and I'm visiting. And then I'm thinking, oh, also over time, I want to video everything. So while I am visiting Paris, I have my camera on my phone and I'm videoing everything. And this is over time. So I'm going down the street and I'm videoing, and I'm sitting in a cafe and I'm videoing, and I climb the Eiffel Tower and I'm videoing, and what else might I do? Oh, I walk along the Seine River and I'm videoing. I'm videoing over time. Good? Now, if I want to show I'm visiting over time and I'm videoing over time, so these are both happening over time. If I want to show that both of these are over time, here's how I do that. I could say, again, to show visit is over time, I say, if I had been visiting. If I want to show video over time, then I say, in the if clause, I say had been visiting. In the main clause, if I want to show this is over time, I say, I would have, I think I need to move this over. I don't have enough room to write. I say, I would have been plus verb ing. And notice, when I use the verb ing in English, when I use be and verb ing, and be and verb ing, that means it's progressive, it's over time. So this shows would have been videoing, and an English speaker hears that and they say, oh yeah, this is over time, because I have be plus verb ing. So, I could say, if I had been visiting Paris, and I don't know if I have enough, oh, okay, so I'd say, I would have, and then I'll say, been videoing everything. I would have been, if I had been visiting Paris yesterday, I would have been videoing everything. So I'm visiting over time, I'm walking through the streets, I'm doing all of these things, and I'm videoing over time. Videoing everything. Now, I want to tell you something. This, not very common, okay? I'm telling you this so it's complete, and that you have a complete understanding, but it's not very common. Usually, you'll use the way that we looked at first. Let's see. I have a meeting with Tran at 1 o'clock, so you can tell this is afternoon my time. I'm going to give you one more example, and then I'll end the video. Okay, so you'll remember that the truth yesterday was I was cleaning my house. But let's imagine I was working in the garden yesterday. That's just my imagination. The truth is I was cleaning my house. But my imagination would be, if I blank, I think this is getting kind of faint and hard to see, so I'm going to get rid of this. If I blank work in my garden yesterday, I blank plant some carrots. Okay? I don't know if you know this use of the word plant. If you're not a gardener or you're not a farmer, you might not know it. Plant is usually a noun, right? But it can also be a verb. And it means to put a seed or a plant in the ground so that it will grow. So farmers, when they spread seeds, they are planting their crops. Or when a gardener takes a flower and they dig a hole and they put the flower in the ground, the gardener is planting the flower. Okay. Now, this is imaginary past progressive. I'm going to ask you to pause the video and see if you can think what this should be. Okay. Now, if you remembered, and if you didn't, that's fine. You can look at the video again. But if you remembered, in the if clause, I use had been plus verb ing. And in the other clause, the more common way is I'd use would have plus past participle. So, I could say, if I had been working in my garden yesterday, and remember this is imagination, I would have planted some carrots. Okay? If I had been working in my garden yesterday, I would have planted some carrots. It's also possible, if I want to show it was happening over time, I could say I would have been planting some carrots, but because that's rare, I'm not going to write it here. Usually, I'll use the would have in past participle. Okay. I think that's everything I want to tell you. If this is clear, wonderful. If it's not clear, feel free to text me on Remind or send me an email, make an appointment to talk, or ask Tran on Tuesday. Remember, Tran's meeting with students Tuesday from 5:30 to 6:45, or come to the question and answer session with both Tran and me on Thursday at 6:30. And those are all in the homework and in the announcements if you need to check again. And the Zoom links are there too. Okay. I hope you have a wonderful day. I'm making this on a Friday, so if you see it the same day, I hope you have a good weekend. Otherwise, have a good day, have a good week, and I will be back with more videos.